Assalamu alaikum. Hello, my name is Samina Chughtai and I'm your host for today. Welcome to the Let's Talk show, British Muslim TV. We're live here in the studio in Wayfield. We're also live on Twitter as well as live on Facebook. So it would be great if you have any questions with respect to the topic of discussion today, please do ring in with your questions on 01924 231 083. Or you can also message on WhatsApp, which is 07 585 835 150. So we have an interesting topic of conversation today, which is emotional intelligence in leadership. We have an amazing guest speaker. She is a lovely, humble Emirati lady from Abu Dhabi. She is a certified leadership and executive coach. She is also an individual who is able to help you to reach your potential and reach your talent to providing you with support. She is also a CEO and the owner of Foresight Consultancy. And in this respect, what she does is she provides short training courses like programs in soft skills. And the idea is to bring your unique self out to help you in everyday personal and social life. So it's about zoning into your talents. So without any further hesitation, I would like to welcome the amazing Nasra Alhebsi. Welcome. I hope I pronounced that properly. I tried to put the Arabic accent on as well. Nasra Alhebsi. Have I pronounced that correctly?
Well, it's Alhebsi.
Alhebsi. Alhebsi. Is that right? Okay. Okay, well, thank you so much for taking the time out. It's a delight to be able to speak to you today. So, as I said, the topic is about emotional intelligence in leadership. So can you tell us a bit more about what is emotional intelligence?
Well, first of all, I'm glad to be here today.
Thank you.
And by the way, you look amazing.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I don't think I sound very well because I'm recovering from a cold. So, you know, my voice is a bit croaky today. I've got a slight sore throat. But thank you.
So allow me to give an example to explain the concept. You might, for example, picture someone who never let his feeling get out of control. And no matter what problem he's facing. Okay, or you might think of someone who has the complete trust for his or her employees, listen to their team, and easy to talk, and always make a careful, informed decisions. So these people who act like that, they have a higher emotional intelligence, or we can say EI. Okay, so we can define it as the ability to understand and manage the emotion for themselves and for the people around them. So people with a high degree of emotional intelligence, they know what they are feeling and what their emotion means and how this emotion can affect the others. So basically, it's about 5 elements, 5 key elements, which are the self-awareness, the self-regulation, the motivation, the empathy, and the social skills.
Okay, brilliant. Well, thank you for describing what emotional intelligence is. Would you say that it's something that is innate? Do you think people are born with emotional intelligence, or would you say that it's something that is learned?
Well, we can learn it, of course, because in a different way, we can also define it. It's like a skills that help us to recognize, to understand, and manage our own emotion, as well as recognize, understand, and affect the emotion of others. So while some people will be naturally more adept in certain aspect, And AI also can be learned, can be developed, and can be enhanced. Okay, and we can develop it with four main components of AI that I mentioned before, and all start with all start with a self-awareness, because you are aware of your own emotions and the behaviors, and that also will lead to a self-regulation, which is the ability to manage the emotions and the behavior. And also this one can lead to a social awareness.
Okay, so what you're saying is that emotional intelligence is about, having that self-awareness and thinking about others. But, how does one develop that? Because quite often some people may lack that emotional intelligence. We see it in maybe business, in leadership, in everyday life, where some individuals can be very, selfish. They may be very short-fused. They may be quite sarcastic, maybe in the workplace, or, not really have an awareness of a person's emotions. So, how is it actually developed? And I hear what you're saying. It's about self-awareness. It's about thinking of others. But how do you get those skills?
Okay, well, there's many ways, to be honest, but I will start with you should practice observing how you feel. So we are often busy of our lifestyle, and it's all too easy for us to lose the touch with our emotions. So to reconnect, we try, for example, to setting a timer for a various point during the day. When the timer goes off, take a few deep breaths and notice how you are feeling emotionally, and pay attention where that emotion is showing up as a physical feeling, feeling in your body, and how and what the feeling like. So the more you practice, the more it will become the second nature. Okay. And also you can pay attention of how you behave. So while you're practicing your emotional awareness, for example, take the time to notice your behavior too. Observe how you act when you are experience certain emotions, and how that affect you in day-to-day life. So managing our emotions become easier once we become more conscious about how to react to them. And also, I can say you should take the responsibility for your feeling. Okay. So your emotions and behavior come from you, right?
Okay.
So they don't come from anyone else. And once you start accepting your responsibility for how you feel and how you behave, it will have a positive impact on all the area in your life, of course.
Yeah. And with respect to that, I just wanted to know is that, sometimes we all have issues, things going on in our personal life. For example, we could be going through bereavement, we could be going through financial issues, we could, have other difficulties in our life, things are not going right for us, we could have those tensions, yes? So would you say that when we are in the workplace, would you say personal factors can impinge, can affect your emotional intelligence in leadership? And how do you actually control that? How do you actually separate your personal issues and not bring that in the realm of emotional intelligence in the workplace?
Well, for the leadership, having the emotional intelligence is very, very important for success. After all, who you think like to be more success, the leader who shout his team when he is under the stress, or the leader who stay in control and keep calm even in a bad situation? So to have a high degree in emotional intelligence will determine how motivated you are to lead. And this motivated leader usually have the ability to face the problem, and adopting this mindset, it might take some practice, but it will also worth the effort that you will give.
Okay. Can you just tell us a bit about your work? your clients. What does it involve, please? Emotional intelligence.
Yes. Actually, my the basic thing that I do in my work or in my work, yes, is it's all, of course, about people. And most of my clients are women, and sometimes are a teenage between 13 years old to 17 years old. And
sorry, did you say 13-year-old to 17?
Yes.
70 or?
17.
17, right.
Yes.
Okay, interesting.
Yes. So it's more about to improve the quality of their life. So they came for me for many problems. Like I have this teenage, she's 17 years. She have a problem with her parent because they are control her too much.
Right.
So, yes, and she have too much stress on her, and she came to me to help her. I gave her some kind of coaching, and alhamdulillah, now she is much better.
Okay, excellent. So what kind of coaching did you offer her, to help her with these difficulties?
So her basic problem, she was in stress, pressure from the house, from the university. So I gave her some coaching tool to become calm and to reduce her stress.
Okay, I'm so sorry. We'll have to just take a very short break.
Yeah.
So, after that, we will continue. Yeah, so we are going to have a short break, within a few seconds or so. But if you can just finish off.
Yeah, and that's it. It's just some kind of coaching. Because, I feel like if I talk about my patients or client, it's like...
Yeah, no, that's understandable. I take on board that there are issues around confidentiality. Oh, no, I wouldn't never want you to tell me your clients' names. But, like the coaching, is it like practical courses they have to do? Is it about, having an insight into their own temperament, their personality? Is it reading particular articles?
Improving personality, and some of them they have I have to
right. Sorry, we're going to have a short break, but please do join us after the break, and we will continue with this amazing conversation. So bye for now, folks. Appreciate it. Bye. Bye-bye. Hi, Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to the Let's Talk show. My name is Samina Chughtai, and I'm your host, and we have an amazing guest speaker by the name of Nasra Alhebsi. Have I pronounced that properly? Alhebsi?
Yeah.
Okay, and as we were saying just before the break, we were talking about, some of the coaching techniques that you're offering your clients.
Yes. Well, some of technique I use it for the client to recorrect their behaviors. Some of them, they have an anger issue, and some of them are confusing about putting goal for the future. So one of the technique that I use, we call it a Disney technique for them. It's more about setting goal for them for the future, and also some of them have family problems.
Okay.
And also sometimes couples of male and female come to me like they have problem with marriage also.
Okay. So what you're also saying is that emotional intelligence can be applied both in your personal life as well as in your business life.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So, one of the questions that I have, and I often think about this, is that would you say that emotional intelligence has diminished or is less apparent or less appreciated to what it used to be? And the reason why I say this is because, like the first generation in particular, our elders, grandparents, people from the first, second generation, they say, oh, times are different now. Our time was different. we used to be more caring. We used to look after our neighbours, our brothers and sisters. There was that respect, there was that love. You know, so would you say that emotional intelligence is not as apparent, or would you say that it's not valued as much? Would you say that there is that difference to when, you know, our parents were a lot younger, the first generation, to how emotional intelligence is now?
Well, there's differences, but it's not depend like in the past or now, because even in the past they have a problem with emotional intelligence.
Okay.
And for that is the crimes that happened before, like the killing crime, for example, the family problems, when the husband beat his wife. This all problems happened before, and it's happened now. But because the emotional intelligence depends in many factors, not just like how the people lived before or the way of we live now. So it depends in the environment, in the parent, in the personality, in many ways. So
Right.
I cannot, it's like
right. So what you're saying is that there's a lots of factors that can influence emotional intelligence.
Factors affect the emotional intelligence, of course.
Okay, okay. So I have a quote by, you know, the Pakistan-American speaker, Naman Ali Khan. And one of the quotes is, he says, "Not letting our mood affect the way we treat people is a forgotten sunnah." Yes? So I'll repeat that again. Not letting our mood affect the way we treat people is a forgotten sunnah. So, you know, why is it that, you know, our mood, as he said, is a forgotten sunnah? Why is it that our mood now affects the way we interact with people, whether that's in the workplace, whether that's in our family life, social life? Why is it that people, would you say, struggle with their mood and their emotional intelligence? Is it modern day problems, or is it the fact that people value emotional intelligence less? There's less emphasis around that, or is it modern day problems? You know, for why people may not present in the same way that they used to years ago, or the fact that they don't practice it also in the workplace. You know, so why is it, you know, that people are not allowing their mood to affect their interaction with people, whether it's in their personal life or whether it's in their social life or work life?
Well, it depends on the personality, I think, the personal factors.
Yes.
Yeah, because some studies, they found that the emotional intelligence was associating more with a personality than the cognitive ability, for example. And it came out that the study on relationship between the personality and emotional intelligence, by aiming to explore what the dimension of personality strongly. And also, as I know that the emotional intelligence is considered to be something that can be developed over time. So there are many also studies show that the older people have a higher score than the adult in emotional intelligence. And that because they believe that the processing information is little slower with the age, that make us think before we act. So instead of reacting quickly, we do see some decline with the age in overall the mass of the brain. The part that responsible for the emotions, like regulation, the complex reasoning, for example, and the speed for processing. So we found that the older people, they have a positive also bias, even without realizing they are actually doing this. So
they have a higher degree of emotional intelligence, older people?
What?
Did you say that older people have a higher degree of emotional intelligence?
Yes,
right.
They have.
Yeah.
Yes, because, you know, as I told you, we consider the emotional intelligence is something that can be developed over time.
Okay.
And the older people, beside their experience in their life, they also have the processing in their brain become different than when they are a teenage, for example.
Right, that's really interesting. So with respect to that, I wanted to ask you, is there a difference in emotional intelligence between males and females? Because quite often, as you know, that we'll hear people saying, oh, he's very immature, but his sister is probably a few years younger than him. You hear of these things, don't you, in our community? But his sister is a few years younger than him, but she's very, very mature. And so in that respect, would you say there is a difference? And you must have heard it being said, oh, boys always mature a bit later, just be patient with him, men always mature a bit later, without sounding sexist. But it's a factor of the matter, isn't it, that people will say that. So would you say it's down to biological factors? Difference in emotional intelligence?
Okay, so most of people will assume that the women will have more score in emotional intelligence because they can express their feeling more than men. But sometimes...
Yes, I'm listening, yes.
But sometimes the women also can express by their feeling by shouting, right? So to be real, there was no difference between the gender on their total score for measuring the emotional intelligence, but the gender, they did tend to differ emotional intelligence in some areas like self-awareness, interpersonal relationship, or the empathy. So as I told you before, the EI depends on many factors, like also the personality, the environment, and many other factors. So in general, the general score, we cannot say that the women or the man have more high score.
Yeah.
But the component of the emotional intelligence by itself, that I told you before about that, yes, there is differences.
Okay. And also, our Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, he was an amazing person who demonstrated a great degree of emotional intelligence. I mean, I think there's a story, a situation whereby one of the companions brought some grapes, and he was amongst his sahabas, amongst his companions, and the grapes were very, very sour. Yeah, they were very, very sour. And he continued to have those grapes and said to the companion, they're so delicious, they're so nice, because he didn't want him to be embarrassed. And he didn't give those grapes to anybody, but he finished them. So, that's an example, isn't it? That our Prophet demonstrated that degree of emotional intelligence. So can I just ask you, what books would you recommend, or any articles, if anybody wanted to read a bit more about it?
Well, most of my reading is in Arabic. So
that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, there is a book, I don't have it now. Okay, it's also, the name of the book is Emotional Intelligence also. And the other book is about emotional intelligence for the kids.
Okay.
Yeah, very big one.
Okay. And if people wanted to get hold of you, what is the best way that they could contact you?
Well, they can contact me with my mobile phone or my Gmail, and also LinkedIn.
LinkedIn, yes. Okay. Okay, well, that's really good. So in that respect, they can contact you via LinkedIn, your phone. But Nasra, unfortunately, we've run out of time, but it's been really, really great having you on the show. Thank you so much. And viewers, please do tune in next week to the Let's Talk show. Bye for now. Bye-bye.